All right, just a fair warning. This may look a little sketchy, but I've done it a million times. I'm not too scared. So don't try this at home, but this is how I'm gonna pull the body off by myself. All right, so the majority of that is cleaned up with the wire wheel. I just want to have a nice clean surface to weld to. So we're gonna go ahead and just start welding our way the whole way around the chassis, and then we'll flip it and do the bottoms of everything. All right, so we are about halfway, a little bit farther along. But I want to stop because my knees are starting to hurt from being down on the concrete. And we're going to tack those shock tower gussets into place a while. Let me show you. We need to get these notched a little better again, and then we're going to tack those in a while. Okay, so we're moving along pretty good. A lot of stuff is tacked into place. Still have some fish plates to make for the inside of the frame. Right here, where this mount protrudes up past the frame, I want to cap the back of it and then weld it all along the top and bottom to add just a little bit more reinforcement there. So let's go ahead and make a plate for that. All right, that one's capped off. Pretty much just like that. We're gonna add a piece to the back just to get a little bit of strength on the top and make it less likely to want to drop down. So got another one, we'll throw it on over there. All right, one last one to do. It's gonna be for the front 3-link. Same concept, we're just adding a backing plate to it. Let's burn it. Well, you didn't get to see that, but went ahead and cut these and notched them and bent them. Let me show you. Okay, so here they are. This one I bent a little too far, I can bend back, but basically it's gonna be a frame tie-in for this rear bumper. It'll get burned in right there. Should give it a little bit, more support. Before I go ahead and weld these onto the bumper, since I relieved them, I'm gonna go ahead and fill this full of weld, and then I'll go ahead and set it in there against the bumper and burn it along both sides of the frame. All right, boys, so I just went in and had me some dinner. The old lady came out quick and helped me flip the frame rail up like that so I can burn in these sections of the mounts. Here is the small section of frame that I have to cut out because there's a hole in it. So while I have it upright, I'm gonna go ahead and fix this bottom section of the frame and fully weld out everything on the bottom. So, getting tired, but we're working. Oh. Just ran out of wire. So what I run in my welder is Lincoln Super Arc 030. I used to run 035, but it seems like it's just a little bit too much. And my machine works best on 030. I'm able to fine tune the dials to kind of meet my needs, whether it need to be hotter or if I need a little bit more metal in there. So 030 it is. Let's swap it out. There you go. That's out the tip. Shut it down and weld it up. just as you expect, now I'm out of gas. They said that bottle's only good for about 2 hours of trigger time, and I definitely stretched that out today. So tomorrow we'll get some gas and finish the chassis. Fun. Good morning, friends, family, people of the interwebs. Right now we are running down to my old man's house to grab a bottle of 7525 MIG so we can go ahead and finish up this chassis. So me and the pooch are on our way down there now. Hang out for 8 minutes, grab that bottle, and we'll get back over to my house. Can you say hi? Just got my old man's bottle installed there on my welder. That's the size I want to switch to. Our local Air Gas, they got a goofy policy where you have to buy all your smaller bottles, and if you want to go to a big one, you got to lease it. So I'm not in the mood to lease a bottle. So that's the size I want to end up with, and unfortunately I only got that little guy to make do with it. Well, this will probably end up being more of a time lapse. Welding's boring to watch. I don't have a good camera crew to film me do it, so enjoy. I believe all the welding except for the patch panel is done. So I'm gonna go ahead and wire wheel the frame while I have it in this position, get it cleaned up and ready for primer. We're running out of time. I think, well, it's Monday. I got to have the Jeep together by Saturday, so we better get to working. All right, so I got the frame flipped over, get a better look at this small section that I'm gonna end up having to replace. That bolt hole is still good, but these two are in a soft spot. So we'll end up chopping it somewhere around here and relining that, drilling holes and welding nuts on the backside, then we'll burn it in. I do have my skid plate though, so we can go ahead and make sure everything lines up. Look inside this frame. So we got good metal on the top and the sides, but man, these bottoms get soft. So let's try to suck all that out of there. You get the point. I'm gonna go ahead and keep blowing this and sucking all the rust out of there. All right, so that's all blown out. We'll just call this weight reduction. That's a bunch of the rust that came flaking out of the frame. Actually looks pretty decent on the inside. So I think I'm going to add a couple drain holes whenever I get this all back together in spots where water could puddle, but let's go ahead and trace this back out, mark the holes, tack it in. We'll test fit my skid plate, and then as long as everything's good, we'll go ahead and get it burnt back in, and the chassis is done except for 1 inch of weld up there that I forgot to do. Then we'll put it in primer. We'll go ahead and we'll trace this out on here. That way we have a nice exact fit, and then we'll trim it down just a little, add a little bevel. That way it adheres nice. Then I'll center punch these holes, and we'll drill it out, tack it into place, put nuts on it, and see how it looks. How'd that feel? right, those nuts are welded on. Let's stick it down in the frame. I think whenever I welded it, it got a little hot and possibly distorted the threads. So the exact same nut fits this bolt. So I'm gonna have to run a tap down real quick. Those right in. All right, so I just got that patch welded in on the frame. We'll go ahead and wire wheel it and flap wheel it just to kind of take it down so the welds aren't sticking up at all. All right, let's go ahead and weld up that last little section. Then we'll finish cleaning the frame, get it in primer, and the chassis is done. About time. What's it been? 3 days, 4 days of nothing but chassis work. So this is the big stage, the big part. There's coat number one. I have a headache. I should be wearing a respirator, but outlaw life. We'll hit another coat when we flip it. There it is. The frame is completely fabricated and painted. Everything is done and in paint. It's got one coat on it, which is plenty for now, and we'll touch it up as we go. We're just gonna watch paint dry and maybe start reassembly this evening, if not tomorrow. All right, well, it is the end of chassis day. We have officially welded, primed, and painted this whole chassis. I'm happy with it. I'm glad that it is pretty much all done. Tomorrow, we start reassembly. We just gotta wait for everything to dry. So I'll turn the heat back on and let it cook overnight, and tomorrow we should have a nice dry frame ready for links, axles, and tires. See you tomorrow.